Maestro should win everything. No.
Oh my God, we didn't even get on Maestro.
We never spoke about Maestro.
That's how much.
I feel bad.
That's
man.
how much that shit.
How much
sucks,
you want to
bro.
bet, dude? I wouldn't be surprised
Darling,
if
what do
it
you mean,
won
darling?
though. There's this like.
What do you mean?
I think that maybe Bradley Cooper has connections where he could get that film.
He feels
to win.
bad.
He definitely has connections.
People, it's hilarious that like there was this big campaign about the film and what Bradley had to do to get that one scene.
To get that
music
prosthetic.
Yeah,
nose.
I heard they spent 50% of the budget on his nose and ears.
And then like the one thing I didn't like about Maestro is that he did so much cooler things than I saw him do in that movie.
Oh.
They reduced him to just being
gay, yeah.
and like he did. There were so much more things that they could have done.
They didn't really honor his
It
legacy.
was just I'm gay and I can conduct music. That's what it felt like. And Bradley Cooper's he wants to sweep. Like it made it look so much more like a Bradley Cooper made project. And I sent you that video.
They should have that on the DVD. I'm gay and I conduct music.
I sent you that video where he's talking to Leonard.
Day 93 under the dome. With necessities growing dangerously low, who knows what spark will set off this powder keg?
I can't take another minute in this dome! First of its kind, the first dome
Anywhere, folks. It is Dome with Bamfomania, the #1 greatest comedy, freestyle, rap, hip hop podcast on the planet, folks. If you like what you hear, you can find us on any platform you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And we also got bonus shit at patreon.com/Dome with Bamfomania.
That's it. If you want to support the show and get some bonus shit, help us out.
And we have a very special episode this week because the Oscars are coming up. So we got a couple of grade A filmmakers and creatives in the studio with us. We got Malik and EQ, some friends. I've worked with them on projects before related to film and whatnot. And I feel like, they show a great appreciation for the craft.
And the pup.
Oh my goodness. There's a dog on my lap, and that's I'm just
This is his second appearance.
my security blanket right here.
Bentley's a star. He's a star.
I love Bentley, but
Thank you for the introduction.
That was very nice.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Man.
We appreciate you guys.
This is all we've ever wanted to do with our lives.
We haven't had any other video people on. I think you guys are the top-notch video people we've had.
I had such a good time last time I was here, and then I told him about being on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, he put me onto it, and then it was like it was a must. If my bro says cool and you guys are cool people, then I had to come
specifically
on.
told him nothing about the freestyle aspect.
Yeah, and do you remember when I came on? We were talking, and it was just like beats just dropped, and I was just like,
That's the one thing I knew I wasn't going to say.
I like this.
yes, that will happen eventually.
Pretty sooner rather than later.
I'm
actually.
excited too because I like talking about movies, but I find for the most part, there's only a few people that I can even have a real conversation about movies
Isn't
with.
that weird?
We get into it a lot on IG.
Yeah.
We're always going back and forth.
Yes.
And me and this guy literally just talk about movies constantly.
Yes, all the time.
I feel like
Series.
it's hard for people to watch movies nowadays, because of the way streaming is. A lot of people watching short form content, so the art of just paying attention to a movie is lost.
And you know what else I think? I think it with streaming comes them curating what they want you to watch instead of going back and watching things.
Here are the options.
Everybody's algorithm is different, so they're not being shown the same things.
It's assumed that a show is liked just because it has been watched. So for example, the new season of True Detective is the most watched season of True Detective. I can't believe that. We should correct it. Let's all go plug in season 1 and repeat it.
Yeah. Right, on Netflix it says most watched. Should be more most botched.
Whoa!
I don't really watch botched, but I've seen people with that huge schnoz
watching shows that I really love. Not even the new ones, because I'm still watching Scrubs.
That's a good
That's
one.
all I can do.
He hopped right in.
That's all I can do.
Yo, shout out JD and shout out to Turk. I love them. I wear scrubs when I go to work.
Whoa.
And yo, I'll be fucking on Sarah Chalk. Yeah, you know me. I think I'll go and take a walk.
Yeah, when I heard that dude call him Chocolate Bear, I instantly got really scared. I was like, whoa, that right there is some real bromance. Oh, man.
Yeah, Scrubs is a classic, but we're not here to talk about Scrubs. I do think so. It's like the Oscar episode. That's what we're calling it, I guess.
The Oscar episode.
We're going to be talking about the nominations because there is another Saturday before the Oscars where we're going to be recording, but this is the last episode that will be released before the Oscars.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're going to get our predictions in. We're going to get our opinions in.
down.
There will be spoilers.
We got a
folks.
guy scheduled to come in and slap one of y'all in the middle of talking.
Oh yeah. As long as
Don't talk about anybody's wives.
or their hair.
that's the thing. I think we already did a spoof of the slap, didn't we? And last year's Oscar episode, or did
Probably.
we not?
That's
You
crazy.
should put
That
us
was
all
last
in
year.
tuxes. You should put us all in tuxes on the
I thought about wearing something like that.
I did too.
And then I was like, it's too much.
That's the thing, because all of our worst friends in college had Oscar parties where they dress up in tuxedos
Oh,
and
God.
fucking drink champagne and shit.
Wow.
You guys don't usually watch the Oscars, or do you?
I don't have cable, so I usually just wait.
I feel like now it's like streaming on like Hulu
if
Live
it's
or
on
YouTube
Paramount
TV.
Plus or something
Okay,
like
okay.
that, I'll check it out. But
I feel like that type of shit is available for free now on YouTube and other. Like you can watch the Super Bowl for free on something, right?
It was on Paramount Plus this
Yeah,
year. I
yeah.
watched that, but that was mostly for the halftime
I have to be in a
show.
space, like I have to be around people, or like people want to gather and watch it together. You know,
Yeah,
or I just check up on the nominations.
I
and
kind of
then
think,
After the fact,
right,
right.
right.
I feel like for the most part, award shows ain't shit, and especially like one of the bigger ones, like the Oscars, I don't think is any indictment on a film's quality per se. It's
Well,
just
yeah.
kind of fun,
Well, you know
and
what's
you
crazy?
get an idea.
So I read this history fact about the Oscars, and it was one of the major film companies at the time. They created the Oscars because a lot of people, actors and cinematographers, they were about to go on a major strike. So instead of paying people more, they actually created the Oscars to boost up people's
Ego.
morale
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
ego.
So it's just like a recognition type
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
It's like, good work. Here's an award. We're not going to give you a bonus.
It makes me wonder how bad it was before the awards. Like, were they just treating them like the movie would come out and be like, yeah, that was fine, I guess.
you know
On to
what
the
was
next
crazy?
one, okay?
So you know what's crazy? One of the guys who started the Oscars, he would have like grips and film crew like build his house and do
so they
crazy
it was like
things.
treat them like slaves, essentially.
Pretty much. And then all of a
Build
sudden
this
he's
for
like,
me.
right, now we're going to give you awards.
that makes sense. Anything before fucking within the last 30 years seems like the rights of workers have
before
increased
unionization. like,
Exactly, yeah. So that it makes sense that in the movie industry there would be massive amounts of abuse, and then you're luring people in by being like, just do this for me, and then maybe you'll be Batman in the next one.
I remember I used to do like audio setup for the auditorium at our college, and one time the guy who was in charge of all that hired me under the same umbrella of paycheck or whatever to just go work on some plumbing at his house with him. So I think I fell into that trap as well myself, unfortunately.
The movie game.
I think the Grammys have taken a little bit more of a plunge than the Oscars have as
Yes.
far as like credibility and stuff like that.
Fuck the Grammys. Yo, they took a plunge. Yeah, you know me, I'ma take your girl out for lunch, and then we're gonna watch some movies nominated for some Oscars, and I hope they won.
Yeah, I think the Grammys is like a popularity contest, whereas the Oscars is less of that nonsense. Oh, his phone dropped, and now I'm about to go off on the mic talking about the Oscar noms.
Oscar noms, fine. I guess I'm jumping in. I guess you know I gotta rhyme, cause it's time. I wonder why. They got so many nominations. Yeah, there's more than 9. I wonder if they just want that thing on the DVD, a special
Right.
sign, so they can claim that they got that nomination that yesterday when they had the fucking Oscars. That isn't great.
That's exactly it. I was on Netflix yesterday and saw a thing that said, oh, this was Oscar nominee Ted, and that's why I actually clicked on it and was like, yo, I actually watched Society of the Snow last night.
No, that's
Okay.
cool. I got scared on that when I was
My
trying.
girl walked in and was like, "Oh, is this like that movie Alive?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? This is a new thing that nobody's ever heard
But it
about."
literally is.
Yeah, no, it is. So I after I watched Society of the Snow, which was insane.
Yeah.
Like by basically these guys in Uruguay get on a plane.
Real quick, Society of the Snow nominated for Best International Feature Film among 4 other movies, which I'm sure we'll get to those too. But
Yeah.
But
hit it
yeah,
up.
so this Uruguayan rugby team, these dudes in their 20s are traveling to, I think, Chile, and then
a very religious team too.
Yeah,
that kind of plays a part.
They all have a pretty serious moral conviction about different things, and they crash in the Andes Mountains and are basically out there for fucking 60 days, and they end up cannibalizing the dead bodies of people. What was crazy to me is when there came a point where like they were just picking on the bones. Wow. Like they kind of graduate from, no, I don't want to eat these people, to then, oh, this guy who's a butcher is like cutting them up back here and bringing us the meat so that we don't really associate with the person. And then eventually they're just like eating them like they're fucking chicken.
Well, that was like, it was like teamwork. Like they kind of all knew that this was fucked up, but they're like, we literally have to do this. There's no choice. You either die or you eat your friend, your teammate. You have to eat him. It's like if I had to eat David, it would take a while. And
I probably wouldn't have had to eat in the Andes. I would have survived 60 days just sitting there.
There would be people.
Like, we're good.
We would immediately huddle together. You'd be fine. No broken bones or anything. We'd huddle together and be like, we got to get rid of David. He's going to last us a while.
One David for all of us.
Honestly, like the plane crash is one of the craziest scenes I've ever seen. You guys haven't seen the Society of Snow
I haven't
yet.
seen this. Is it the same story from Alive?
It's the exact same story.
All right.
Yeah.
Just
but
making sure.
Alive is based on a book called Alive, and Society of the Snow is based on a book called Society of the Snow. I don't know if the
books this season.
Yes, true. Yeah.
American Fiction is also from a book, isn't it? Or from
yes.
I got some words on.
Oh yeah, I liked American Fiction a lot. I wonder, is there any? Should we just stick with the foreigners for now, and then
we can stick with the foreigners. I'm down for that. I
haven't watched foreigners.
I started the Zone of Interest last night, but I fell asleep. I have enough that I can start speaking on it a
that's
little
the
bit.
only. That's one of the ones I haven't.
You've seen Zone of Interest,
yes.
right? That one's a little. It's kind of experimental in its presentation, but when you really see what's going on and how like mundane they make everything, given the proximity to all of the horrific stuff that's going on, it's a little unsettling. But I didn't finish it, so I don't really see the tone, and the pacing was a little slow for me. But I do like the juxtaposition of how they, had this idyllic kind of lifestyle next to one of the most, crazy atrocities in history.
Yeah, it's about the family dynamic of a man who works at Auschwitz. He's like the head guy. He's in charge of like signing off on the new gas chamber or whatever.
And the way that they talk about like how the gas chambers work, and they're like, yeah, this can fit like 500 loads. They kept saying loads
instead of people.
Instead of people.
Wow.
And like that was like, and then the main thing that I noticed about the film was that there's this just constant hum of the gas chambers in the background.
Whoa.
Like you can just always hear.
They play with the sound. Like anytime there's any moments of silence, you're only a couple of seconds away from hearing like a scream in the background.
Just like furnaces going, and these are people like doing family shit. Like they're in the backyard playing and painting boats and going fishing and stuff like that. And it's like you can just hear this like in the background.
Last night I was between Society of the Snow and Zone of Interest, and I was like,
I think I should have did Society.
I was like, I'm not trying to get into this like, yo, the Holocaust is a bummer, yo, and I'm just like not a runner. I'm a one-off nerd and want to watch about cannibalism. Word.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Yo, in the plane that crashed, that was not fly. And like most of them died. They had to fucking eat their friends, but at least they weren't alive.
In that movie called The Zone, it's a family film, but they're not playing Yahtzee.
No, sir.
They're playing around with people's bodies because it's a house full of Nazis. That's all I got.
Yo,
you get one bar from me. That's all you get.
Yeah, shout out
more than me.
Shout out fascism. That's not the best kind of ism. Yeah, catechism. I'm on my knees praying, please. Can you stop the Nazis from eating me?
Yeah, ooh, yeah.
Did they eat people too?
No, I mix movies now.
I was like, I don't know if they were known for eating people.
Bro,
Mixed media.
No, well, there's a part in Zone of Interest where they're playing in a lake. And they get caught. A whole bunch of ashes all of a sudden just show up in the lake because it's all run off from the factory. And so he's taking his children and vigorously scrubbing the Jewish ash off of them because he's like, they're contaminated.
Damn.
But honestly, I will say I did like Zone of Interest a lot. But I agree, it was kind of slower, but I think it made up for it with the experimental shit that they did. Like
They definitely did shoot it.
there was weird like dips to color that would take forever.
The scene where the girl was like putting the apples out, how they did that, it kind of looked like you know how they do like X-ray vision or something like that, and it was like almost like negative film or something like that. I thought that was great.
It's the only one that's nominated for both international and best.
Is it really? Oh, wow.
Right?
Which is interesting because there's another international film that's nominated for best called Anatomy of a Fall, but that one
I was gonna watch that one.
Yeah, I was
isn't
gonna watch that one
nominated.
too.
And okay, in my opinion, that probably is likely to win best or is close.
You think that's gonna win best
Over
picture?
Oppenheimer?
Okay, well,
son?
let me just say this. I need to make a distinction between what I think
We might
is,
be jumping ahead here. You're
Yeah.
already getting to who's gonna
Well,
win best. That's like
Right.
We should, yeah.
I'm going to make my distinction between what I think should win best and what had me at the edge of my seat and what will probably win best. I
Okay.
feel it's likely Scorsese or Poor Things will win best, in my opinion.
I was
But
gonna say, yeah.
based
something
on
along
just
those
like
lines.
when you look at like technically what the most fucking best movie is from every aspect, those might be the ones. I don't know if Oppenheimer is really up there for me. I got kind of
Oppenheimer's up there for me.
Okay, Oppenheimer I thought was great.
Oppenheimer and Poor Things.
Did you see any of the other foreign films?
I saw a little bit of Perfect Life. Is that what it's called?
Perfect Days.
Perfect Days.
I haven't seen
Perfect
that.
Days. That's a beautiful film.
Okay.
And it's so like peacefully made, but it's kind of it exists in its repetition.
Have you
know
seen
what I
any
mean?
other movies by Wim Wenders?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I.
But just the fact that it's because it's Japanese, right? I believe.
I think
but
so,
they
yeah.
trusted this white dude to come over to Japan and like make this movie for them.
Damn.
And it's like that's a dream for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's
Because like
big.
I don't see a lot of people being like,
Your
hey,
dreams to be a white dude?
Well, no. My dream is to have some.
You
other,
ain't black.
My dream is to have some other culture be like, you are the best person.
Yeah. No,
that
I
can
get
tell
that,
this
for
story
sure.
for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, speaking a little bit on American fiction, they only give black people movies about black people.
Yeah, well, that
You know what I
that's
mean?
kind of meta in that American
It
Fiction
is,
touching
but I
on
also
that.
think that movie is coded for more for white people to enjoy than black people.
I
because
felt the
enjoy
same.
it.
I felt the same exact way. Like I felt like it was speaking on itself while actually being the thing that it speaks.
Damn.
Absolutely.
That's
you
a
know,
deep
to
cut.
like when I'm watching it, I'm kind of just like, all right, I get the point that you're trying to make, but
Yeah,
you're
and I-
also proving that point by making this film.
Well, and I think that they kind of make what you're saying clear at the end when it's spoiler alert, folks. When they like have them all on the set, they don't even conclude any of the like family storylines in
None
the
of
movie
that.
at all. They're just like, okay, now we're making the movie for fuck,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And so like because I think that I think you're right because you would almost. It would matter more to see those relationships carried out,
Right,
but
but
instead he puts the kibosh on
But
that. And it's
also,
like,
that kind of to me like defeats the purpose of the story arcs and the act structure.
So you think it was a negative that they did that meta turn?
I kind of do,
I would agree.
because I felt like I would have been more interested in the stories of those individual characters coming to some type of conclusion or arc, rather than that fact of idea of what they were trying to prove actually being proven at the end by filming the,
And like
the
this,
movie.
if you
Fuck.
look at the characters, like this was a privileged family to the point where they had a maid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yo, these dudes were motherfucking privileged, even though they had the blackness, and they had a maid. She was getting paid, and in the end, she starts getting laid.
Damn, yo, that maid, she be getting cake. Oh my God, older brother's gay. Yeah, he got caught with his white wife. Yeah, you know now, he got a gay life.
Yo, he's hella gay, and he also loves doing cocaine with some dudes in their undays. And then they're at the wedding, and they're fucking petting on mom and saving.
Yo, she's got dementia and aphasia, like my lady Wendy Williams. Yo, that's just how it is, bruh. Oh my God, yo, what's up with mom? She can't remember my name. Her mind is gone.
Yo, and then also Issa Rae is like the strange.
Only there for a day.
Yeah.
And then she passed away.
That was Tracy Ellis Ross. That's who died.
Yeah. No,
I thought that was very abrupt. I mean, apparently the same thing happens in the book, but I was like, why is the sister in here and then she's just dead? Like that was kind of jarring for me, but apparently the same thing happens in the book, and so
that to me was one of the most interesting parts. Like to me, to introduce a character. So you think that they're going to be involved, and it just completely throws everything into a spiral.
I don't know how much this would change everything, but her character in the book, you know how she works at like she's like a gynecologist or something like that. She actually gets killed by an abortion protester in the book.
Whoa. Really?
That's what happens. So
that's hardcore.
Yeah, they decided to take that out completely.
It would have been less Hollywood.
It would have been,
it would have been less Hollywood. Too real.
I would have liked that.
But for real.
The main thing I take away from, I think, like, just because how you said, like, you loved it, like, all of my coworkers who happen to be white, they also loved it. And so I think that film is, in my opinion, it's more for you guys than it is for us.
I also didn't realize how big of an issue it was. Like now looking at it, I'm like, now that movie is out, not to cut you off, but now that movie is out, I just hope that we can get to a place where we're just like doing stories now, and it doesn't have to be inherently about our blackness and how it's perceived by other people.
Me and him talk about that all the time.
We just want to do stories.
So like going back when he was talking about like the white dude going to Japan and filming stuff, like me and him talk about stories all the time, and we write things, and like we might not put a race on technically what we're imagining at first, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I want to do a story about like a white trailer park type of community, and it's just about the dramas of the people and the arcs of the people, the storytelling within that.
It's called shit.
Without having to put, like, yeah, man, my blackness is just, at the forefront of this.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I think part of it is that mantra of write what you know. So most people are writing from their own perspective. I do think there is.
This is true, right? But what do we say about like action or fantasy?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's there's whole genres out there where like you're creating alien people. Like you're not like writing what you know.
And you writing about white trash, trailer trash type shit from your perspective would probably be really interesting, because it's like, oh, this dude's saying it from his own.
Right. And then also having a diverse crew and having like, we have friends from every races. So like I grew up in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia where like I had some white poor homies, and like they told me the stories about what they were going through and what it was like with their parents. So it'd be dope to add in all these emotions and afflictions.
One of my favorite films is Beast of No Nation, which was directed by Cary Fukunaga, who's a Japanese American man, but he got to go to Africa and do this extremely like black story.
Oh, that's the child soldier.
Amazing,
like that.
amazing
Like,
with Idris.
I just want some of the equity of that experience.
Yeah,
I want to be able to go to the heart of Japan and do a dope samurai story, and be welcomed into that culture to a point because of my filmmaking is good enough.
Yeah, not because of your personal history.
Exactly.
Just because of you're a great filmmaker.
He can tell the story well.
That's a good point.
I just think we don't get a lot of those opportunities because, since I was talking to him the other day, like just being black is political, so it's people have to put us in a box just to understand us.
It would be less cool to have two white filmmakers on right now. So you guys are helping us out.
Whatever we can do, man.
We got the correct opinion on the...
Dude, if you guys hadn't been on here, we would have been like, American fiction is so great. And it really shines a light.
It really speaks to the truth of the black experience.
But so the crazy thing is, too, every actor in there, I think, did an amazing job. I do think that it was a great production. I liked it. I'm not disagreeing with it that it's a great film.
It is what it comments on.
It is what it is, and I don't think if you put it up with the other nominated movies, I don't think that it holds enough. I still
think it's better than Holdovers.
There's a part of me that thinks if it. Well, let's hold on.
Yeah, let's
let me just say this.
Let
me just say this. Like,
hold that over.
If it. Oh, jeez. If it is what it is, don't you think that it is accomplishing what it might have set out to? And that is kind of cool. Dude, they were trying to make a meta truth. And if they fucking concluded it how you wanted it to, it might not have worked.
Honestly, I thought it was just funny. And, for me, it was straight money. And then, Paul Giamatti's kind of goofy, you see.
We're not even talking about the Holdovers, bro. We're literally talking about the other one that for some reason I can't fucking remember the name.
American Fiction.
American Fiction. Yo, I like Jeffrey Wright's diction, and honestly, he probably got the nomination across the U.S. nation.
I was kind of bummed when he broke up with the lawyer, cause he saw her reading that book like it was Tom Sawyer.
Honestly, that was a little unhinged. He should have stepped back. He should just pretend that's okay. Or he could have just been honest with her about the whole thing.
That was an easy conversation.
It was the most like narcissistic shit.
And it's like, you wrote the shit.
He's like, I hate you for liking this thing I wrote as a joke.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah, so the Holdovers, we could jump to that because that's my other. It's either between Jeffrey Wright or Paul Giamatti.
Yeah,
I actually have notes on the Holdovers.
I actually
Hell yeah.
really liked the Holdovers. To me, the Holdovers was like proof that, you know, and Oppenheimer, I think, carries the same weight of like that true, you know, filmmaking, storytelling can still be at the forefront and successful in this game. Like me and him were talking about it, right? And it's like, you know, as a, you know, camera operator and cinematographer, it's like to put a camera on sticks, which is a tripod, if people don't know, and to point it at people and let them act.
Let them go.
That's like not too many jarring. I'm not saying it's not impressive when you have something on a crane and stuff like that, but when you can put a camera in front of Paul Giamatti and him transform that scene into something that, and like, look, that if you want to be technical, that's the whitest movie probably I've seen
100%.
in a while, right?
Yeah. But honestly, I think it was made to kind of, you know,
but it still touched me though. It still touched me
because
as
everybody's experienced loss, everybody's experienced grief, everybody's
that adolescence rebellion.
Because like he was comfortable in that school, he didn't really have like love interests or anything like that, and like, let's be real, like Angus Tully's mom was totally a pick-me. Like she was a pick-me mom.
Wait, now which one was she again?
Angus Tully is the main character.
Yeah, he's the kid.
The reason why he
I don't remember what she looked like.
The reason
though.
why he has to be held over is because she wants to go on a honeymoon with her new husband.
Who's got money?
Who's got money, which, you know, like so many people can relate to the fact that like a lot of times people's parents will put the spouse over the well-being of the child.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's the whole kind of kickoff point where like she's, you know, and then you find out, you know how they say every good story has a want, a need, and a secret, and it's like the secret is his dad's not dead. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
we're
led,
a lot of that.
Yeah, we're led to believe that, you know, his father's died, and that's why she got remarried.
He's just in the
like
ward.
He's crazy.
Right.
So like,
And these group of characters that have like nothing in common, like the cook. You know what I'm saying?
Lost her son.
And, right. Paul Giamatti's character who like taught the head, you know, dude of the school. You know what I mean? He's been there for a while in comfortability.
And then he's moved up past
and he's
him.
being challenged by this kid who he used to, like, there's a lot of dope conflicts.
in there. And Alexander Payne is really good at not making period pieces so much as he's making pieces from the period, if that makes any sense. Because
what's
like,
another period piece he's done?
Well, he does stuff that are like not in modern times. I think I want to say like, I don't know if Sideways was
I think Sideways was based in the time it was
shot
shot in. Yeah, it might have been like based 10 years earlier.
So
another
That's what I mean. Like and it's not like if you look at how the film was shot, he's using camera techniques and editing transitions that were really popular in the 70s, like wipes and like long zooms and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that
And then like
don't use anymore.
a dope thing too is like we talked about this. We talk a lot if you can't tell.
Yeah.
We say that a lot too. We talked about this.
Retro card titles. All that
so what they also did is it was a period piece, but you didn't notice the period. You just felt like you were in it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
It was cozy.
It wasn't
very cozy.
It wasn't obvious. I was like, this is either the 40s or the 70s.
Right, because
or
when you do something
not,
like The Great Gatsby, everybody's dressed to the nines.
Right.
yeah. I do think that there was a parallel between the Holdovers and Sideways with that final bottle that you know how in Sideways he drinks that really nice bottle at the end of the styrofoam cup and it's like sad.
Right.
At the end of Holdovers, he gets that expensive scotch and he
He
just
goes off to his new life.
yeah. So it's like that parallel. I was like, whoa, that's kind of like the same fucking thing.
And I also appreciated that, like, sometimes, like, good movies don't necessarily have to have the character go through their full arc. Like, we didn't see his full arc. He's going on to his
Yeah,
arc.
him moving on was the
his-
biggest thing.
That was the step, and it's
Yeah.
like what's beyond that is his arc.
That
You know what I mean?
that
And I love
handshake,
that.
that handshake with the kid at the end.
It was
is
awesome,
fucking
and I like
heavy.
because it usually is that moment at the end of these type of movies where like they'll hug and everything will be okay. It wasn't really like a happy-ish ending.
They
you know
blue
what I'm
balled you heavy with that handshake. They were like,
Right.
There's the handshake, and then he kind of goes like, "All right, later, man," and then walks away.
I'm going back to my life.
Later, Paul Gia. I know I just got you fired, but I'ma go back to my life in this boarding school because it's so rewarding.
yeah, you know me. I'm Paul Giamatti, going off to my new life in a Bugatti. Whipping on this, drinking this Henny. I think it's something like that, plenty.
Alexander Payne, catch me out here in the rain. I'm out doing my thing. I'm sitting sideways, yeah, I'm on a train. Oh my God, the holdovers affected my brain.
You know, I agree. The film was pretty cinematic, and that cook lady, her life was kind of tragic.
Yep.
Yo, at the party when she was frantic, I was like, Paul, close the door, bitch.
It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. I'ma be the DJ, I'ma spin what I want, dude. And that's just me. Yo, if you want tunes, you go to a different party, bitch.
I would give her best supporting actress.
You know what's funny?
Because she did so much with so little.
I honestly had trouble. This is just to be critical for once, of her acting. I struggled to like buy it. When she was doing her thing, I was like, maybe it's because it was a period piece and she was acting in the way that she would have acted in those times. But I felt like other people's acting was more believable.
Interesting.
Hers, to me, maybe that was just me and my misperception, but it felt slightly forced. Coming from her.
Let me see you lose a son.
Well, you know what the forced thing, I think, the feeling that you got, right? The forced thing is like you have this woman who lost her son, but she's working this job at a place where her son went, and she's surrounded by all these ungrateful ass kids, a pressure from the school to suppress all that emotion. So she had to suppress, and I think that's actually a proper feeling that you had, right? It was forced because all of a sudden she gets these moments where she can let go of that suppression and finally exert like the true emotion. So it kind of does come out of nowhere at certain times.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
I do.
It's supposed to.
I think
it's supposed to.
I do empathize with the character, and maybe there were parts where I felt like it wasn't her acting necessarily. It might have been the writing of certain like lines where I felt like her dialogue with Paul wasn't as credible, and that isn't necessarily her fault. It's just maybe the dialogue writing.
It's funny that you say that because before I got here, I was talking to my mom, and she was speaking about a specific like actor that we both know, and she's like, I don't really like his acting. I'm not gonna say any names, but I was saying one of my responses was like, sometimes it's the material that the actor is given,
and it's the direction.
Yeah.
Like,
you ever see a movie, and I talk to my girlfriend about this all the time. It's like you ever see a movie and an actor is so great in it, but then another movie with another director, another crew, another set.
That's kind of Nick Cage's main malfunction is just like when he gets good material, he can fucking leaps and
Mandy,
bounds.
Fucking
And then
Sleep
when he's
scenario,
given
dream
crap,
scenario,
it sucks.
dream scenario.
Dude, I haven't seen that yet.
I'm surprised he didn't get nominated for that.
No
That's
spoilers for Dream Scenario.
Yeah, I haven't watched that either.
I want to watch that so bad because I know it's Ari Aster produced it too, right? So he's got his hands in it, if I'm not mistaken.
What about Poor Things?
Oh God, are we ready for this?
Has everybody seen that?
Are we ready for
I
this?
watched
'Cause
Poor
I got
Things last
notes.
night.
Yes.
I got notes, bro. This is what I want to say about Poor Things. It is Barbie on steampunk mushrooms.
And you know what I would say?
It is Barbie
I
on
would say
steampunk
that
mushrooms.
after watching it, Poor Things is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's literally like the Bride of Frankenstein, but more. And so Frankenstein, the father, the actual Dr. Frankenstein, and it's we talked about it, man. It's one of the best movies that I've seen in a while.
I
I
agree.
think Poor Things is so good it makes Barbie a better movie.
Okay.
Wow.
Wait, how does that work?
Because if you think about it, like both of them are about like female autonomy. Like both of them are about the escape from patriarchy and the self-realization of your own agency, right? But like because Barbie is made by Mattel and it is, under that Mattel clean, pristine brand, you look at Greta Gerwig and you look at her as like she wanted to do something like Poor Things with Barbie, but you can't because it's such the brand. It's such the brand, but it's like she was able to do the most and cram the most under that
with that
ceiling.
limit. Yeah.
Right.
And it's like Barbie herself is like this very perfect, cute, like non-flawed thing. So it's like you had to do that, but like watching Poor Things, you can kind of see what Greta was trying to do. And it just like makes you appreciate what she was able to do a little bit more because Poor Things was so just wildly off the charts. Like,
yeah, and also the popularity of Barbie, like the scale of that isn't. Poor Things didn't reach that many people because of how fucking wild it is.
You know what else? Emma Stone could have just as easily been in that movie Barbie, can't you see? But no, she's exercising her chops. She's playing a friggin' zombie tot.
Yo, I'm just glad she took off her top. Yeah, I'm happy a lot. Yo, that she was just a nasty little thought. When she was in France, I took off my pants.
Yo, she whoring herself regularly. That's how it is, bro. She getting up early to get that money. And you know Mark Ruffalo did not think that shit was funny.
Yo. And then she like tells the priest that he's got a gift. And he was like, I need to shift back to the fucking church, bitch.
Yeah, a gift from Godwin, maybe. Yo, that dude's not a fraud. He fucking took a baby's brain and put it in mom, and now mom's doing a thing out on the lawn.
Yeah, and the best part is when Will Dafoe is like, I cannot produce sexually because my organs are fucking destroyed. You don't understand? He's like, I can't fuck her.
Look, I know. So a supporting actor to me, it's gotta be William Dafoe.
I mean, yeah.
He didn't get nominated though, did he?
I think it's Mark that got nominated.
Mark Ruffalo killed it.
Weird. He did kill it, but he killed it. But I don't think he was in like the movie enough to get a best supporting role.
He wasn't enough.
He was, but
this is my favorite movie. Obviously, this was my favorite.
This
movie.
one should win. You think?
I would give this. I would give. It's not going to, but I would give it to either The Holdovers or Poor Things. But like, I saw so many parallels in that movie because it also covers so many bases, right? Because I listen to a lot of the. I work at a film school. I work at Loyola Marymount University, and so I'm listening to a lot of the younger generation people talk about this film, and a lot of them were taken aback by the amount of just gratuitous sex scenes in it. And I think that's akin to the fact that, you know, a lot of the younger generations just aren't having as much sex and it's not as important to them. But like, if you look at the film, you can also see that they're speaking to that because they talk about how she shouldn't do these things in polite society.
Yeah.
So it has, you know, it's like we know that you're not going to like this sex. We know that you're not going to, but it's not, if you want to focus on the sex, you can, but it's not all about
It's
sex,
not about the
right?
sex.
You know what I mean? 'Cause, like,
It's about
you mentioned this, and it's a weird that like the film brought up because I saw that too, that there were like articles being written about like what's with all the sex.
Is it exploitation? Is it da, 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 da?
I've seen so many movies with so much more
so
shit.
much more
but it's
like,
also what we're talking about streaming and stuff. When people are being curated a lot of this safe content, then you forget that like, yo, art has no barriers. You know what I mean?
It's supposed to.
It's not supposed to, and it's supposed to fit into a world where like, you know, the story tells itself. And I thought that was the most perfect way to show the growth of her, a baby experiencing life
in a woman's body. And she finds her own self first. Like, she learns how to take care of herself first.
Yep.
Like, and that's something that we've all experienced. That's when they say that's when they say boys stop being friends with their moms. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like, did anybody else like notice the parallel? Oh, sorry. Did anybody else notice the parallel of the path of the Buddha?
Okay, no, but I want to know now. Let's hear it.
Well, if you look at the path of the Buddha, right, he was born into opulence. His father didn't want him to want or hurt for anything. He didn't want him to experience any type of negativity, and it made him very aloof and very just like numb to the world. So he wanted to go out and seek the pain and seek the negativity and seek the And that's exactly what Bella Baxter did. And once he got there and experienced the pain and the negativity, he was like, there's no fulfillment here either.
Right.
So he went on the path of enlightenment and trying to find the balance between the two.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's
that tracks.
That's exactly
Well,
what
yeah,
Bella Baxter
when
did.
she sees
That's when I got
sees the
profound.
gutter and like
Yep.
how horrible it is.
She wants to go help
And
them.
then she gives all the money away.
but
you
then
know what I
the
mean?
money gets stolen.
For
and
sure.
then she goes to the, she goes to the whorehouse and she's like, "Oh, I need this for money." And then she grows so disillusioned with
Yep.
even the sex that
But
she
then
was so
I thought
inspired
I thought
by.
it was incredible that she figured out that as a prostitute, it would still be a better experience for everyone if she built rapport with the client
With the
first.
client,
So she's
yeah.
like, all right, you tell me something about your childhood, so I humanize
and
you.
I'll tell you a joke.
And so then you
Right.
respect me, and then we're gonna have a great sexual chemistry as a result of that. And she like develops this. It is the aspect of growth where she's like in
Yes.
this shitty situation, and she's like, I'm gonna make being a hooker the best experience for
And
everybody.
then right before that, it was her dependence on Mark Ruffalo's character.
Right.
Seeking adventure and stability.
But then it's too much for him.
And can we all not agree that was Emma Stone's like greatest performance?
She's gonna. she should probably
she
win,
should
right?
win the
She should
Oscar.
I
Oscar.
mean,
Best
super bad is it's kind of up there for me. What can I say?
think
I forgot she was in Superbad.
I think Emma Stone's performance is like it gave
Fearless,
me it gave
bro.
me that feeling that like
Fearless.
this is why we do it, and this is
Bro,
this is acting.
They dyed her bush for this
Yeah.
movie. That's fearless,
An
bro.
important touch.
Fearless.
Amazing. And then also think about Poor Things that might not. I don't know if it's up for best cinematography.
I
It
think
should
The
be.
cinematography is amazing.
They built
It is
all of those sets.
the boats,
production
the
design.
slums.
It's up.
Paris.
production design,
It
bro.
should win best cinematography.
the production design alone was incredible.
Yo, the amount of money that they must have spent on this film was something incomprehensible. Yeah, they must have spent so much dough. Yeah, I'm going off with the flows.
Yo, and all the damn lenses that they use, we got 3D and the anamorphic too. Yo, hella wide, hella tight, everything you need alive. Yo, this shit is so creative. Yo, I think I'm gonna die.
Yeah, that footage when they were out on the boat.
Oh,
Me sitting there felt like I was gonna float.
Float.
Yo, now I want a root beer float. But I might puke from seeing fuck Emma Stone's boosh.
yo, okay, her boosh. Yo, I'm on the boat with you. I just fucking strangled a seagull and killed it too. And then I threw it off the edge. Yo, what you gonna do? Shout out to the lighthouse. You're not supposed to do
I
that
think
shit.
there are so many more movies that use sex just for the shock value of sex, but this was a tool of. It was an instrument of learning for her, and I think they did it very well.
What's
and
puberty?
Yeah, you could.
She's
literally-
going through puberty. She's like, why aren't people having sex all the time?
Yep,
This is the
yep.
best. And then
Who
she,
hasn't thought that?
Yeah, exactly. And then she grows out of that, and then also there's all these steps where she outgrows the people around her,
Exactly.
and it's like a huge analogy for life. Where
And,
you're like,
and I
on this
like
path.
her daringness to make quick decisions and go with things to
Go
figure
with
it
her,
out.
yeah.
Just like when her husband from her previous life comes to the chapel.
Yes.
She's like,
and
I'll go with you.
She's just like, cool, whatever. And then all of a sudden she's learning so quickly, and it's just like, oh well, I know why I jumped
And then
off
look,
the bridge.
And then look how better she was talking than everybody when she came back
Oh,
to
man.
yeah. Well,
In
that's
the end too, she was just
Like she went from being like bud to like speaking circles around people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Thank goodness that they did the switch back into color too, because otherwise I would have never known that Rami wasn't a white guy.
even though his last name's Yusuf.
didn't he have a show?
Yeah,
a little
he
bit?
did.
Yeah, he's like a pretty successful comedian.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
good.
he's
He
cool.
good,
No,
too.
he was
And I
great.
think
Yeah, I like that dude.
everybody was perfectly cast. I love Gerard Carmichael's character as just like this cynical person that's like showing her the slums and like showing her how dark life can be and how it's like there is no hope and stuff like that, juxtaposed with the old woman that he was hanging out with who's just over everything and she's just like waiting to die. She was like, throw me over the boat if you can.
I thought it was funny when they get to Italy and they eat a pastry and she's like, let's have 6 more, and he's like, nah,
No, just one.
And then she goes back and just
throws up.
overdoes it and throws up out, and it's cool.
It was great. That was probably the most fun that I've had watching a movie in a long time.
Did you see it in theaters?
No.
I saw it in theaters and I was like, Man, I should have taken 6 tabs of acid for this shit.
I told you, bro. Steampunk mushrooms, baby.
Oh yeah, with the whole half animals thing.
Oh,
like
God.
some
It was
so
Dr.
trippy.
Moriarty
The
shit.
pig
I'm telling you,
ducks and the-
Frankenstein. Like he
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
he was an alchemist. Like
Yeah.
Bella's dad was an alchemist, which is truly what Dr. Frankenstein.
Well, it's
is.
almost like if Frankenstein's monster created a monster, essentially.
Yeah,
because he himself was
And
experimenting.
he won't
By his
acknowledge
dad.
how abusive his father is. He's like,
He's a man of science.
he had to do it to discover the solution. And when he keeps burping because he can't process
Yeah.
those bubbles, like, I was like, Jesus.
That was a great touch.
Great
Like
touch.
they could have just not done that. You know what I mean?
It
But
was-
why not make him just blow bubbles randomly?
yeah.
Yeah, I like
was
that.
great.
Oh, great.
Shout out to Yorgo, Slanthamos.
You know what's funny is what was he also did fucking Killing of a Sacred
Killing
Deer
of a Sacred
and
Deer
the
and the
Lobster and
Yeah.
he's got some Dog Tooth if I'm not mistaken.
He's got some weird ones, bro.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: he builds up so much cachet and trust with his actors, and that's something I'm really envious of because at this level of filmmaking that we're at now, you got to convince people just to show up. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And it's like, yo, you got to convince people just to like be there for a couple hours, let alone like get naked and like
Go all in,
and
yeah.
go
Right,
all in and give yourself to the production.
he
and,
sold
like,
the vision for sure. He got
really
everybody
did.
on board.
And then once you like cachet with your actors is such a rarity, man. It's like that's what I'm looking for. That's what I strive for. And it's like you can only that's
hard
something
to
that
get
you
that.
got to talk about with years for people and
So-
be like, I want you to do this and I want it. This is what it's going to be like. It's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be embarrassing. You're going to feel embarrassed on set. She was saying that like there'd be takes where I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? And he would be like, I don't know. But it's just such a like subconscious trust that they have with each other, and that's what we ended up seeing in theaters.
No, it was a great movie. I watched it in theaters and was just like, as soon as the movie, I kept on laughing.
Oh, it was
I
funny. It
laughed
was hilarious.
so much more than I had anticipated, and then was also very emotional.
I think the most laughs came from Mark Ruffalo's character.
Yeah,
That was hilarious.
He'd be like, "Marry me." She's
That
like,
was
"No." He's like, "I'll
hilarious.
kill you."
And the ending spoiler when she puts the brain of the goat. inside
in the dude, yeah.
Hilarious.
Last parallel. Did anybody else see the Streetcar Named Desire parallel?
Yeah, the Bella scene where the Stella Bella
And
thing.
the difference is Stella lets him in. She goes down and relents. She's just like, "Go home."
Yeah.
And she leaves. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was like chef's kiss.
Well, I also, in my opinion, the funniest dude was William Dafoe. Like, he is so autistically scientific, and he can't stop. Like, he would just burst into these screams, and he would say the funniest shit very eloquently.
And then she's like, "How are you out of bed?" He's like, "Well, I've taken this much cocaine. I've taken this much."
You know I need a couple lines just to move out of this bed of mine so I can operate on my daughter's mind. Well, she's not my daughter. She's the fucking body that I found in water.
Right, and then all of a sudden she finds out that she's her mom and her brain is gone. And then she's like, this dude Perry on wants to take me back to a man Sean.
Yo, I'm on the boat with Emma Stone and I can't wait to get her alone. Maybe she'll be on the podcast dome saying stuff that makes me want to go home.
Mark, this woman hasn't had sex in 20 years. Doesn't that bring you tears? Yeah, I'm looking at spheres, the world. Yeah, Emma Stone, she's a girl.
And that movie is a pretty good TV show. I mean, it's not a TV show technically, but I like how they switched time thematically with so they did black and white to color, and they did it where the color is actually
Outside of the home.
And then but Oppenheimer also did a weird thing with their black and white to color transition where like the black and white was actually the stuff in the future and the color was the stuff that happened in the past,
Yeah.
which
I
I thought
thought
was
that was
interesting.
brilliant.
Representing how Robert Downey Jr.'s character looked at the world because everything was black and white for him. Like he saw the world like there could be no shades of gray. It was just you know what I mean. He was very.
Which I think Oppenheimer and Poor Things are the
those
two
are-
greatest films.
So Killers isn't up there.
Well, I was saying this to EQ the other day. Like Oppenheimer's like LeBron James. Like we know he's good. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be said that he's
Yeah,
the
fuck-
best.
But also I feel
So if
like
it
this
wins
though.
Best Picture,
I
like, it's
agree.
like,
I agree with
obviously.
him. I definitely agree with him. But that's like still, LeBron is great. but it's like during the hardest game of his career, him still scoring 85.
Yeah.
It's like historical.
Yeah.
And I feel like through all the actors' performances,
And it's
through,
sweeping.
Through Nolan's direction, through the score, Ludwig did the score. I mean, it's brilliant.
Well,
It's
and the
filmmaking
story
brilliance.
is very. I didn't realize like the importance of fucking nuclear weapons and like how big of an issue it is even nowadays. So like that development is something that I gained a lot of
honestly,
insight on.
that's the most of what I took from it. It was definitely a really good movie. I was thoroughly entertained. But I don't know. There's something about Christopher Nolan's movies specifically. I don't ever like come out of them being like, what a fantastic work of art that was.
Yeah.
I'm more just like, that was like a solid blockbuster. Like it's the same way I feel after I watch like a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at what I'm seeing on screen and whatnot.
Yeah, you can't deny it.
And I can't deny it, but it still just, it feels very like
Hollow to a sense.
yes. And
I understand where you're coming from.
EQ's
I think-
hard as bro.
Right,
think
he's like
this is-
like shooting direct
I think
shots
this
at
is-
my
I-
soul.
and I'm saying I loved the
Like,
movie. It
I
was
did
so
too.
entertaining,
But
but
it
I
didn't
loved
shake
it.
me.
I
It
loved it
didn't
like I love a music
If
video.
it wins,
you know?
if it wins Best Picture, you won't be surprised.
He keeps saying,
And
would
yeah,
you
of course.
keep
I would-
shooting it?
no,
If it
absolutely
wins
not.
Best Picture, you
Look,
wouldn't be surprised.
Look. The Oppenheimer being about geniusness. It's about this genius who has multiple different conflictions, relationships with women, respect from colleagues. Like there's a lot of deeper things than just a man who created a bomb and then we're watching.
I do think the
'Cause,
acting was great,
I
too.
saw it in
Yeah.
the movies, right? And everyone's right. All the hype was about this explosion is going to be so crazy, right? I felt less impressed by the
Yeah,
explosion.
the explosion was a little lackluster.
That was my least favorite part.
The part about the explosion I remember the most was that it was Josh Peck from Drake and Josh pressing the fucking plunger.
I never.
The bomb is ready, my brother.
I think the part that happened right after the explosion, where he's giving that like speech and he sees all the people in the audience with their faces melting and
that's-
stuff like that.
that's brilliant.
That was his daughter, by the way, the woman whose face was melting. That was,
Oh, wow, I didn't
was
know that.
Nolan's,
Wow.
That was Nolan's daughter.
And we talked about this before, right? It's like such a brilliance. I think I'm a Cillian Murphy man. I'm
Killed
like that's my boy.
Cillian
and
killed
when
it.
you can
Cillian.
again point a camera at someone. And in their eyes, they're looking into yours.
Yeah.
And it's just a feeling of like, I believe him. Like he is that guy.
I think he deserves Best Actor for that more than the picture would deserve Best Picture. And like I said, I'm not shitting on the movie
I
whatsoever.
would honestly say, and we talked about this because I texted him, I was like, bro, like Poor Things should win Best Picture.
Poor Things should win Best Picture. I don't think it will because of just the whole everybody's getting in their tiff about sex.
Also, it's like Oppenheimer and Killers are both so like technically good.
Yes.
Like it's like when you talk
and they speak to more historic things.
well, and the stories are way more like deep and real and like this thing, whereas Poor Things is more like, you know, obscure and out there.
I'm not gonna lie, like I wouldn't be mad if Lily Gladstone got the Oscar too, because
Me
she's
too.
the heart of that movie. And if you
Yes.
didn't have her in there, you would just be looking at these atrocities and you'd be like, damn, that's fucked up. But then you look at her and you see her eyes
I
and you
agree.
see her like she carried the weight of that film.
I think that like the difference between like Oppenheimer and a movie like Killers for me is Oppenheimer. It feels like the very important story elements, the stuff that I really liked. They weren't given enough time to breathe in the movie itself. Like it was immediately on to the next major event that
talking about
happens in Oppenheimer. But in Killers of the Flower Moon, like it seems like you feel like every single beat in that script.
Yeah, and it didn't
See, obviously, and I'll be
like-
real with you, Killers to me, like there's some things that could have been cut out.
You're not wrong, that shit could have been edited. It was quite long, and I just gotta say it, bitch. That really, movie's over 3 hours. Let's just make that a limited series.
It really could have been edited. I'm spending 3 hours taking insulin and some other shit that he mixed with it. And then he took some one day and he's like, that's the shit.
Yo, I can't believe I'm experimenting with insulin in my blood system. Yo, what's this gonna do? Is it gonna make me diabetic? I hope not. I was trying to get high as shit.
It's just crazy how the doctor was compromised because he was paid by that De Niro guy. And then Leo's like, he's my guy, so I'm gonna trust him. And yeah, you know I'm busting.
busting in the Osage lady, so we can have us an Osage baby.
That's fire. But
fire.
I felt the runtime of Oppenheimer more than I did Killers.
I
we
also
saw that
did.
in theaters.
I also did. There was look. This is how you know to me a good movie, right? Like I had to pee in the very first 20 minutes of Oppenheimer. I didn't move.
Yeah.
I literally didn't move. We went to go see Killers of the Flower Moon at the Directors Guild
With Scorsese there.
With Scorsese.
Scorsese
and
pulled up.
And the writer. I'm sorry, I forgot his name.
Scorsese just pulled up, walked in. It was
right.
dope.
So it was more of an impactful moment, right, in our lives.
Yes.
But I still was sitting there, and I was just like, there are a few of those scenes that.
Okay, so that's the
you
opposite
know
for
what I
me
mean?
because Oppenheimer felt longer than Killers for me. That's what I meant. Like
Right.
I felt like I could like the story was engaging enough in Killers for me to watch that thing whole through, and then Oppenheimer had me just kind of being like, okay.
I watched Oppenheimer in theaters and enjoyed it and felt like it was good. I didn't go pee. I was like engaged, but it was long. But I enjoyed it the whole time. The issues of communism interest me, and then like his relationship. I felt like it was definitely interesting, and the reality of the story also kind of got me locked in. The acting was really good, and then the back and forth between the courtroom and those fucking dudes being like, "You're a communist, you piece of shit." But Killers, I watched at home. I might have enjoyed it more at the theater. I did kind of look at the watch a couple times, being like, "Damn, this is a fucking long ass flick."
Yeah.
It is long. Even
It
if
is
it was
very long.
Even if it's
It's pretty
engaging
long.
as fuck.
It is long.
Here's the thing. I don't know if De Niro is up for anything, but I'm just like shook by how good of an actor that fool is.
He's
Like,
very good.
He is like straight up in his 80s.
But you can also
killing
tell,
it.
You can also tell that he's old now because
okay.
if you look at all of the scenes that he's in, he's like sitting down. You can tell that he was like, "Look, Marty, I'm not going to be standing up a lot. I'm not going to be."
But he
you know
still
what I mean?
brought a lot of
he
energy.
brought a lot. He's so sinister in that film.
Well, and the thing also with Leo, who I believe is really the protagonist, I felt like he made me feel like it wasn't really his fault. Like De Niro,
Even though it was.
his fault.
Yeah,
He's
true. He was doing
but
some shit.
It's truly De Niro's fault because he takes this dude who is
Fresh
like
off the war.
and he's oblivious. He trusts
He's
his
an
uncle.
idiot.
He does
and
fall in love with
He's
her.
in love with
Yeah.
her, and he's like,
he's certainly
you don't
conflicted.
drug someone that you're
But-
completely
but
in
he's
love
like-
with. You know,
he's-
that's one.
Well, he's also a
thing.
dumbass.
And he's
like
that's what I'm
stupid as
saying. Like, I really acknowledge that this dude's a dumbass. He's lying to himself because his
Yeah.
uncle is really persuading him of the.
Well,
of
there's
all-
that scene where he takes the poison himself because
yeah.
he's obviously conflicted about it.
Yeah.
He's like, "This is what I'm doing," but then he still does it after the fact.
It's-
so.
Bro, the scene where they blow the house up, that like gutted me. Like
Is
that.
this the scene where they blamed it on black people?
No, it was.
Remember, we looked at each other on that.
Oh
on
yeah,
that
that's
scene.
right. There were like there were some black people that
There
came.
was
in.
like, there was
no, but
some-
it was just it was the scene where Robert he's strategically like leaving town because he knows that this explosion has to happen. And he's like, you got to do it, and then they're just asleep, and you just hear that boom.
Yeah, that was a good. That was a
And
good
then
scene.
like they find this sister just like still intact, and they lift her up, and her fucking brain falls out.
yeah, that's just
And
intense.
then the period to that sentence is when he goes back to the house and sees his wife and all of the rest of her family, whoever's left, just like huddling in the basement, and they just look at each other, and she knows her sister is dead, and it's like that, no lines,
Yeah.
anything.
I'm telling
It's
you,
like,
she should win.
If it's between her and Emma, I would be so happy for them.
Well, I thought
Either side of that
Emily
coin.
Blunt is also nominated. I thought she did really good.
She did good, but
in Oppenheimer.
Is she for supporting?
No, for best actress. I believe.
Is she really?
Yeah, yeah. Although I will say Emma Stone definitely,
It's
or the German lady whose name I can't remember off the top of my
Okay,
head.
I want to talk about this.
Is that
And
from Zone of Interest?
No, no.
Yes,
oh.
yeah, and Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy
So
of a
she's
Fall.
in 2 Oscar-nominated movies.
She was in both of those movies.
Yeah,
Oh,
both
wow.
of them.
To me, the movie that because I go to bed early. I go to bed at fucking 9:30.
Same here, bro.
I'm in bed
sometimes
early.
8:30,
And
son.
I did this with Holdovers. I started the movie at like 7:30, and me and my girl were like, "All right, let's just watch it, and if we need to shut it off, but we'll finish it tomorrow." Holdovers, I stopped, went to sleep, came back the next day and finished it.
You didn't want to fall asleep on it.
I enjoyed it, but I was willing to put it down and pick it
Okay.
back up.
Yeah.
A week ago, I watched Anatomy of a Fall around the same time. Could not put it down.
Walk us through that. That's one I haven't
So
seen.
at the basically, this woman is married to a guy, and they have a son who's visually disabled.
There's a lot of tension in the relationship, and the man turns up dead. He's supposedly fallen out of a window at the window in the motherfucking attic, and everyone wants to point a finger at his wife, and so she has to save her own life, lawyer up, or she'll be sent to die.
This dude straight up falls out of the attic, and their life already was pretty tragic. They're living out in the mountains in France. Yo, those people, they don't wear pants.
But I would say the tension is built on the fact that she's not from the France ilk. She's like German, or I believe.
Or
No,
German.
she speaks English as a reprieve to her husband who moved there, and they don't want to just be unequally yoked with their verbiage. I'm losing this, It's a lost cause.
Got it.
There's some cultural aspects of the flick that were pretty sick, like the judicial system that was really in my system.
Yeah. Long story short, it's just a fun little court drama.
Are there court proceedings?
Yeah, and they're fun court proceedings, and they're also they're fun because they're also kind of silly because everyone's dressed up in robes and wearing the friggin' wigs and stuff because it's in fucking.
They're not wearing
France.
Do they still
just
do
got
that?
robes on, no wigs.
I swear one of them has a wig. I swear, like the main guy has a wig.
I don't know if I could
there's
take court seriously if everybody was dressed.
No, there's no wigs.
Okay, I'm misremembering the wigs.
They are wearing robes, but this is one of those movies that takes place in the house and then the court and then maybe a couple other shots. It's relatively cozy, and you are completely engaged throughout the process because you don't understand. You're learning the dynamic of the relationship and what led to his death throughout the entire process of the movie. And even though it isn't like Oppenheimer, Killers, like these poor things, these huge movies, I still was so engaged in the story, and I was like, I'm not going to sleep right now. I gotta figure out what happened.
That's how I felt with Poor Things.
So to me, that was my favorite movie out of all. I haven't seen Zone of Interest, but I've seen all the other Best Picture ones, except I think there's something called All of Us or The Past of Us.
Past Lives.
That's the only one I haven't seen other than Zone of Interest.
When I tell you that joint was a snooze.
Okay, so I'm
Thank God.
I'm glad I didn't put that on.
That was a snooze. It was beautiful, but it was like, I'm so tired.
Dude, you should watch Anatomy of a Fall. In my opinion, it's not going to win Best Picture because there's these other movies that are just too big. And I think it's like the Grammys. Like if there's a super popular album that is just huge, it cannot be shadowed by something that's artistically better because it's not big enough. So to me, Anatomy of a Fall is that, but I think, in my opinion, it's my favorite movie.
Past Lives to me felt like the short film that you make to get considered to make the bigger film. That's what it felt like. It was
underwhelming.
It was very well done, but like nothing happens in the movie, and it's just like this girl who's pining for a dude that she was cool with when she was like 6, and it's like they both become adults and they're like, oh, what could have been? It's like, we were 6. You know what I'm saying? And then she goes to America. She goes to Canada, gets a visa, falls in love with an American dude, moves to New York, and then they come back and they start talking online and stuff like that, and it's just like
It's like a whole lot of
nothing
events,
is happening. It's like
but no resolve.
I'm gonna sound like a hater in this movie, but like it was very well done and it looked good, and we say write what you know, and it's very obvious that like the director
got cucked.
She fell in love with some a dude from her home country, and it didn't work out, and now she's with her white American husband, and like she was like, I'm gonna write a movie about this.
Damn,
that's exactly what I mean, and it was very well done. None of these movies that we're talking about are bad movies.
They deserve some recognition.
They all
Except for
deserve
maybe
some
Barbie.
recognition,
I don't know.
but like
I'm just kidding.
You were talking big about Barbie earlier.
I honestly think Poor Things makes Barbie a better film just because.
But
I think as far as Barbie goes, best costume,
best
set design,
and Ryan was dope in that movie. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
He was, but did you see his face when he won the Grammy for the
Golden Globe?
Golden Globe for the best song. Like, I don't know. I don't think that was
like Ryan
applicable.
Ryan.
Well, I think it was also it did impact the culture significantly.
Yeah.
Like that period of time,
it's the highest grossing movie of last year.
Yeah, so like in that song and like the whole, like people say the term "knuff," Like
Yeah.
that kind of picked up in culturally.
And they're making the Mojo Dojo Casa House.
So-
They're selling those now.
So it's like it had a big impact, but I went and saw that in theaters too, fucking wearing pink and shit.
Yeah.
And the whole time at the movie, I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like I had a
EQ
good-
made a good point though. He said like, why wouldn't the highest IP in girls' toys make that big of an impact? Though?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
seriously, I think it's
you
kind of
have
like
that
it's-
boost.
It like we
You
want
have that-
to talk about LeBron James. Like that is
That's
the
like-
epitome of like the LeBron James film syndrome.
That's like
It's
making a Coca-Cola movie.
right. If it looks
about
good,
Santa
if it looks
Claus.
good, you
Yeah.
got Margaret Robbie. You have all these great actors in it.
You got
and,
fucking Ryan Gosling shredded to the fucking bone.
like how is it?
Yeah.
How is it going to fail to a certain extent? You know, and then it's very trendy to a lot of our social.
Every
things
girl
that's
has had a
happening in
Barbie doll.
society.
I also
Every single girl's
think
had a
like
Barbie doll.
speaking on the whole like the reverse misogyny, patriarchy, feminism conversation. I don't know. They did it pretty well. Where
Poor
they
Things did it better.
Where they flipped. I do
Yes,
think Poor
yes,
Things did it better.
yes,
I thought
100%.
the talk track in Barbie wasn't that meaningful to me. I'm like, okay, we get it. Like chicks deserve fucking rights or whatever, but like I don't feel really empowered by none of this. And I get it. Like Barbie is kind of like dumbing it down and making it seem like less
more palatable.
But them trying to make
Less nuance.
them trying to make it deep to me was just like whatever. Like I could have enjoyed
Because
it
it's
more.
like Bella's masturbating, but Barbie's going to the
Bro,
gynecologist.
I need more jokes. I need jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like they pull up to Venice Beach. Will Ferrell's great, but like
Will
One
Ferrell
time
was funny.
I should have laughed more.
One time I drew genitals on my sister's Barbie dolls.
He's like
Make
this
them a
real
little more
story.
anatomically correct.
This is a disturbed
You're
child,
Dr.
bro.
Frankenstein.
You're Godwin Baxter.
Okay, you know, we're finding parallels everywhere we look. Should we? Here's the thing: we could. We are out of beats,
Okay.
so I feel like
Does that
maybe
mean
we
that
should.
we're out of show when the beats are gone?
We could continue if you guys. We usually do a bonus ep. We weren't planning on it, but if you guys are willing to stick around a little bit longer, we could do another
We'll keep the
45
round
minutes or
going.
so.
I'm down.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah,
then let's
This was my
take a
plan.
break.
for
maybe.
the day.
Yeah. But before
Could
we
I get
close,
another one of these?
Yeah, we'll
Absolutely.
We're
refill
gonna take a
here in a
commercial
second.
break.
This was delicious.
Where can people find?
Wait, shut up. Let me fucking say something. We're gonna fucking do what we think is gonna win and
Oh,
why,
right now.
and
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. What, we're gonna save it for the Patreon. Come
Yeah,
on.
be it. Then fucking force them to go on the Patreon to hear the results.
But okay, I think there's for as far as Best Picture is concerned, I would be very happy if either Poor Things or Killers won.
we can
Just
all
because,
get 3.
yeah, okay. Well, I'm giving myself 2. But I think that there's a big chance that Oppenheimer's gonna win, just because I'm pretty sure I've seen it on everyone's favorite to win
Sweeping.
list. So I would not be surprised. But I think for me personally, Poor Things or Killers up there. That's got to be it, in my opinion.
Can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
For me, I would say that I would not be surprised at all
Later, dude.
if Oppenheimer won. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be upset. I understand why that would win. It's been sweeping, and normally movies that have been sweeping tend to win. But I would be ecstatic if either The Holdovers or Poor Things won Best Picture. I don't think The Holdovers will win, so I would say my 3 are Oppenheimer, Killers, and Poor Things.
Okay,
But I'd be ecstatic if The Holdovers won.
that would be sick.
It's crazy for me to feel this because Nolan's my guy, Killian's my guy, Robert Downey Jr. is my guy. I love Emily Blunt. Oppenheimer was one of the best films I've seen in so long until I saw Poor Things.
Yeah.
Like Poor Things to me is just the man. It's
what makes you want to be a filmmaker.
Like I was a movie goer watching Oppenheimer. I enjoyed again going to the theater, but Poor Things makes me want to fucking get Final Draft out,
And
write a
start writing
script,
some
shit. Yeah.
start casting,
Come up with something that's never been
Let's
said
make
in
some weird
life.
shit, y'all. Let's
but,
make some
but
weird
it
shit.
also like it builds on the belief. Like I said, it's Frankenstein. I love Frankenstein lore, and it's taking an older, basis, but then it's creating something that's I've never seen anything like
it.
Poor Things before.
I forgot to bring this up. I saw some parallels with Poor Things, and did you guys see Beau is Afraid?
No,
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
Yes.
There are some
There
like
are some.
whereas Emma Stone's character is more she has a little more, even though she's got a baby's brain, she has more autonomy, where it
Yes.
seems like Bo is just sort of going into each new horror totally defenseless.
Yes.
But there is this sort of person is just taking it all in at once kind of vibe
right.
that it's almost like Bo's,
I mean,
Bo's afraid.
It's a old tale. Like, I mean, that's what it's the coming of age. It's the you know what I mean? It's a true arc in a character. So like, yeah, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and I would definitely though like to see Cillian Murphy win Best Actor.
I think he will.
Killers, Flowers Moon, was it Lily Gladstone?
Lily Gladstone.
I think she should win Best Actress. If Emma Stone doesn't, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
that's
Here's
a
the
hard
thing.
one.
Sa-
Emma Stone should win it, but I won't be mad.
But
yeah.
okay, here's the thing. You haven't seen Anatomy of the Fall or Zone of Interest, and Sandra Holler, she's
crazy.
She's
She's
in
the
two,
wife in Zone of Interest.
Yes. And she's in two Oscar-nominated Best Pictures, and I don't know, like she's a killer. Like
have to
you would
watch it.
agree, right? For the Anatomy of the Fall.
Maestro should win everything. No.
Oh my God. We didn't even get on Maestro.
We never spoke about Maestro.
That's how much
once.
I feel
Bro,
bad.
That's
man.
how much that shit
How much
sucks,
you want to
bro.
bet, dude? I wouldn't be surprised
Darling,
if
what do
it
you mean,
won though.
darling?
There's this like.
What do you mean?
I think that maybe Bradley Cooper has connections where he could get that
He
film to
feels
win.
bad.
He
man.
definitely has
Like,
connections.
so the one thing I'll say about Maestro is that it's hilarious that like there was this big campaign about the film and what Bradley had to do to get that one scene of
To get that
music
prosthetic
Yeah,
nose.
I heard they spent 50% of the budget on his nose and ears.
and then like he spent 4 years learning that 10-minute piece of music so that he can conduct it, and all Cillian Murphy did was look at stuff. He stared.
Just speak
And
speak
he's
words.
sweeping. He's sweeping. You know what I mean?
They also
But,
did the
like,
black and white thing.
And the one thing sorry, not
Go
to
ahead,
cut
go
you,
ahead.
but the one thing I didn't like about Maestro is that it made me look up who Leonard Bernstein was, and he did so much cooler things than I saw him do in that movie.
Oh.
They reduced him to just
Being
being
gay,
gay,
yeah.
and like, you know what I mean? But like he used to fund Black Panther meetings. He used to like he was a very big like proponent in the civil rights movement. He was very, like, you know, they glazed over West Side Story. Like there was so much more of things that they could have done for him.
They didn't really honor his legacy.
It was just I'm gay and I can conduct music. That's what
Yeah.
I felt like. And Bradley Cooper's he wants to sweep. Like it made it look so much more like a
No.
Bradley Cooper vanity project. And I sent you that video.
They should have that on the DVD. I'm gay and I conduct music.
I sent you that video where he's talking to Leonard Bernstein's family, and he's like, I feel like, you know, I've connected with him, and like and he's like,
Cries, bro.
Dude's never met Leonard Bernstein in his life, and he's like, I channeled his spirit. And I feel like he's with me now, and I can't. Like, it's just like, bro,
It's tone deaf.
Relax.
Yeah.
It's so weird. dude.
Relax.
It's like all actors are retarded.
It's like, no, you didn't. You put a nose on and you went like this.
Yeah.
And it's just
Okay,
like-
David.
Okay.
Good
I,
choices.
I think Poor Things should win. Killers is what I think will win. And Anatomy of a Fall is really my favorite, but I don't think it has the ability to beat out those other movies, even though it was the one that engaged me the most. And I do think that Emma Stone is probably going to win Best Actress.
to, dude.
I don't know who Best Actor would be, but maybe Giamatti got a fair shot at
I
that.
really like Jeffrey Wright though too.
Oh,
Like, I thought
Jeffrey
he
Wright.
did so
as
good.
soon as these dudes hopped on, I was like, all right,
Dude,
fuck
I
American Fiction.
love the way that
Listen.
Jeffrey Wright gets on screen
no,
and does
listen.
his thing.
I'll give it an adapted
Jeffrey.
screenplay. I'll give
I
it an
love
adapted
Jeffrey
screenplay.
Wright. I think he's one of the greatest actors of our time. Like, honestly, and I believed him. Again, even what's the other guy from This Is Us that's in it?
Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling K. Brown, amazing actor.
I'm just trying to get in
Look,
shape
they,
like him.
They had Max from Living Single in there as the lawyer. I love her acting. She's amazing. It's it's a shame that I feel like, you know, the movie just didn't hit
Well,
me.
I understood. I could see that. I guess I don't know. I just think that he was a force to be reckoned with. But I do think
Killian, come on.
Killian is probably going to win, and rightfully
Did you see
so.
the look in his eyes when he's laying in the bed
Bro,
and
that-
Nolan was
just
twisting the particles?
It's
just
just
the
this.
look.
It's this the
He
whole
just
time.
gotta
He's just like,
and
I
he
killed
gives
people.
like 20 looks in that movie alone. That's just like you're winning Best Actor.
He's deep as fuck for sure.
One last thing before we can close out, give all of our socials and whatnot. I will say my favorite movie out of all of the Best Picture nominations was actually The Teacher's Lounge.
Oh,
it's
you
a
told me about
foreign
this.
nomination. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
It is one of the most stressful movies I've ever seen. Like, and I have blood pressure problems, but like, I swear to God, not like a lot happens, but the way that the tension is built, and it's about like a very innocent teacher who just wants to be really good at her job,
Right.
and there's someone is suspected of a crime at the school, and she wants to help, but in her helping try and figure out who it is,
Things
it
get worse.
creates just this maelstrom of shit.
So more than
that-
Society of the Snow, you think it should win?
Society of the Snow is great as well, but Teacher's Lounge, I mean, I liked it better than any of the American movies as
Really?
well.
Better than
Like,
Poor Things?
I mean, Poor Things was awesome, but like, Poor Things was like a whole new experience and whatnot. But so there's not a lot of new shit in the Teacher's Lounge, I would say.
Right.
But like it. I was definitely thinking about it a lot after the fact,
Interesting.
in a different way that I would think about like Poor Things or something after the fact, where But I just wanted to get that out of the end, a recommendation. I know no one has seen it, so fucking
I'm
watch the
I'm
Teacher's
watching
Lounge.
it
It's
now.
sick.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
go to patreon.com/Dome with Bamfomania if you want to hear our takes on fucking Spider-Man Across the Universe or whatever the fuck is the animated films that are nominated. Like and subscribe on YouTube. If you want to help us out, fucking leave a comment. Where can people follow you guys?
EQ the director, spelled just like EQ the director on everything.
I'm just on Instagram. I got to work on that, but you can find me at Spike Leak. You get it?
Yeah, link in the descriptions that you can find their Instagrams in the description.
SPIKELEEK. I'm there most of the time.
Hell yeah. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. Tune in to the Oscars this Sunday, folks.
It's this Sunday.
No, well, yeah.
By the time this
Yeah, yeah.
airs,
Yeah.
it'll be
Right,
this
right.
Sunday.
Awesome.
We're time traveling.
Shalom, y'all.